You're listening to 8158 Stories of Sacrifice, where we honor the bravery of the first responders and the families who stand behind them. Real people, real stories, real heroes. This is 8158.
Welcome back to 8158 Stories of Sacrifice, where we honor the courage, resilience, and dedication of first responders and their families. Today's guest, Mike Kern, has a story of redemption, perseverance, and service. After facing challenges early in life, including time in prison, Mike felt a deep desire to give back to his community and find a renewed sense of purpose. Inspired by a friend fighting fires in Florida, Mike took a leap of faith in 2017, completing his firefighter basics course, passing his test, and beginning his journey as a firefighter. Mike quickly rose through the ranks, moving from firefighter 2 to firefighter 1, and eventually stepping into the demanding role of engine boss. His first fire as engine boss occurred during the peak of the COVID-19 pandemic, a time that tested his adaptability and resilience as procedures drastically shifted to meet unprecedented challenges. After a dedicated career of service, Mike made the difficult decision to step away in 2024 to prioritize his health and well-being. His journey is a powerful testament to redemption, determination, and the impact one individual can have on their community. Get ready for an inspiring conversation as we dive into Mike Kern's incredible story of growth, sacrifice, and service. Here's your host, Rico.
Mike, my good friend, how are you doing today?
I'm doing all right, man. I'm doing okay. How are you doing?
Man, I'm living life. I'm doing the best that I can.
One day at a time. That's all it is.
Given the situation.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I'm just going to say, with your early life and career beginnings, you'd mentioned wanting to give back to your community after getting out of prison. How did that experience shape your decision to become a firefighter?
Well, I would say it was more of a personal thing, like feeling like a burden on society and had to have taxpayers pay my way for a lot of years. When I got out, I looked for some way to give back. I started out driving tow trucks, volunteering in different places, but none of that really seemed to fulfill the need in me that I wanted to needing to give back. So when I met my best friend, Sam, in 2016, he was fighting fires down in Florida, and I thought it was just really neat. He was sending me back really cool pictures, and it kind of filled me with a sense of wonder. And I didn't know if I could do it. But I eventually applied myself and tried. So I think, giving back that way was about the best way that I could do it. So.
Yeah, I wanted to do that too, but I wasn't living in Montana at that time. If I was still living in that area, I probably would have delved into that. Probably would have worked alongside you.
Hey man, I would have welcomed it. It would have been fun. A couple old-headed friends together. We'd be unstoppable.
Right. Just kicking butt. So what was the turning point in your life that made you say, I'm going to pursue firefighting?
I would say late 2016, early 2017. I was kind of in between jobs, and I didn't really have much going for me. I was working for a real dead end nowhere company, and I just said, heck, I'm going to do it. I'm going to see what happens. worst thing that's going to happen is I'm just going to fail out and I can try it again next year or whatever. You know, I wasn't in the best physical shape at that time. But just being at a point in my life where I was out of options for work, you know, and it had always been in the back of my mind for quite a while. I think actually when I was in prison, when I was out at the work dorm, watching those guys, the inmate firefighter crews, go out and do their thing for 2 weeks at a time and come back. And it was just like, I really want to do that.
Yeah, I too also was kind of interested in doing that. And
I remember.
you know, I wanted to get into that so bad, but you know, we had we had that trustee trucking thing, driving out and making deliveries out in the state. I mean, that wasn't a bad gig.
No.
I mean, yeah, being a part of that would have been, you know, have some purpose, but you know, that obviously wasn't for me at that time. So.
Nope, me either. Gotta have a purpose, man. You have to have a purpose.
There's always a purpose in everything. For everything, there is a purpose.
Yes. Yes.
So you mentioned something about your friend Sam's experience firefighting that inspired you. What about his story or moment that sparked your interest in that field?
He told me a story one time about saving a turtle on a fire. And like that just, again, filled me with a little bit of awe and wonder and like a sense of duty. Like that's fun. That's something that is giving back, even just if it isn't the community, it's with, you know, nature and stuff, you know. Told me how he saved this turtle from the middle of a road and there was a dozer convoy going through and he stopped it with his fire truck, picked this turtle off the road. And he was so happy about doing that. And, you know, just a small little thing like that, you know, have such an impact on a person. And if you've met Sam, then you would know, you know, you'd understand why I would think that about him. He's a good guy. So that story there, that one impacted me the most. And then he would just tell me about all the places that he goes and the things that he sees and the gratitude of community, you know, when you go to a community and they just overwhelmingly grateful, you know. I liked that. I liked that.
Well, I imagine you guys are out there putting your lives on the line, saving people's properties and their houses and their
saving homes,
their animals, everything that means everything to them.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah. That I think that pushed me a little bit too, you know, wanting to make other people feel less stress or within a stressful situation, you know, knowing that there's people out there willing to do what they're doing to save their property. And Sam did that a lot. And he pushed me.
It's a good friend.
He's a very good friend. I love that man to death.
Put the boot to you.
He was my engine boss for quite a few years. So,
right. That's
pretty
awesome.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome. So, what was it like taking the basic class and passing your firefighter test in 2017? Did you face any challenges?
The only challenges that I really faced were mental. My history, my background, you know, my legal battles in life didn't really come into play unless I was going out of state, you know. But I never had a problem with that because, you know, the people who lorded above me understood what I was doing, you know, and they would let me do it. So it was my own mental and physical limitations. You know, I wasn't in the best of shape. I did do the pack test first try, but I didn't think I was going to make it. I thought I was going to die afterwards. Learning about fuels, weather, topography, learning about PSI loss or friction loss and elevation gain and loss, all that stuff was another challenge for me. I mean, I never graduated high school. I was, barely a C student in high school. So I don't know. That's what challenged me the most. Anything after that, though, once I learned it, I absorbed it like a sponge, and I just moved forward, moved up as fast as I could. I mean, It wasn't necessarily being fast tracked, but it was definitely, I was doing the job and I was showing proficiency in doing it.
Right. It was accelerating your growth in that field.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I just had this drive to do it.
Right.
Every summer, without fail, I'd be out there.
So you've mentioned some challenges with the pack test. What exactly is the pack test?
Pack test is a 3-mile walk, not a run, a walk. 1 foot has to remain on the ground. You can't run, and so it's a walk. You wear a 45-pound vest, lead weights or sandbags or whatever, and you have to do it in 45 minutes or less. And it's on level terrain, so it's not like you're going up and down hills. I do know that hand crew and smoke jumpers have a very different pack test, and it's a little more arduous and physical, and they have to do it in less time. So it depends on your career choice in the firefighting field. So,
we mentioned before about the growth of your ability in the firefighting career. You'd moved up pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
You moved up to firefighter 2 to firefighter 1, and then began training as an engine boss. What drove you to that rapid success?
I didn't like doing the grunt work. I didn't like getting out of the truck and, grabbing my pack and my shovel or my Pulaski or whatever tool I was using and going doing all the grunt work while the engine boss sat back at the truck. And, they have their own job to do. They have to maintain communication with you and maintain communication with everyone else. A lot of times they stand as your lookout and everything, but I just didn't like doing the grunt work.
Right.
I remember my very first fire, I was assigned to hike up and down this damn dozer line 6 or 7 times in one day, just packing hose to the top, coming down and getting more and packing it all the way up to the top. And I hated it. It was my first fire. I hated it, but I stuck through it. I pushed through and learned as much as I possibly could. I absorbed everything like a sponge, and I talked to task force leaders and division supervisors and all the, the different ranks and different operations, and I would just learn everything that I possibly could so that when I was faced with a situation, I could handle it and I could handle it effectively. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be in charge, and I wanted to be able to make sure that my guys came home unscathed.
Right.
I worked for some engine bosses that didn't have that drive,
Because they didn't care. They just didn't understand.
They're there for the money. They're collecting the money.
Oh, gotcha.
They're collecting the money, and which is not a bad thing. I mean, if you're there for the money, but you're also there for the job, you can do a good job. But if you're just there for the money and you just think it's a vacation and you don't really have to do much, then you're sadly mistaken,
Right.
And I just wouldn't allow that.
Yeah, it's definitely not a good situation to be in if your engine boss really doesn't have your back.
Yeah, no, it's very bad. It can be very bad. We could go on for days with examples that I have. So
yeah, I can imagine. It's unfortunate. So
it is, but it's also, it's an aspect of the wildland firefighting, world. You got guys there that are there for the job and to get it done, and you got guys there that are just for the money. And I didn't want to be just for the money.
Right. Although that was the plus.
It's a big plus.
What was the most rewarding challenge or challenging aspect of becoming an engine boss?
I would say patience. Learning the patience that you need to have was the most rewarding thing for me, because now I have the patience of a saint. You know, I don't let the small things bother me. I don't let my mind wander and get out of control and try and jump the gun to do something that I know if I just have a little patience and wait a minute, it's going to work itself out a little differently. It's one thing, again, when I first started my very first fire, I had no patience. We sat in staging for 5 days, and I thought Sam was going to kill me. You know,
Off the walls.
I was climbing the inside of that cab and across the roof of it, man. Like we had nothing to do. And looking back on my first day as a firefighter versus my last day as a firefighter, completely different.
Right.
You got guys that get out on their first fire and they want to go and attack every red spot that they can find. And it's like, no, we have to stay on task. This is not our job. Our job is to do this right now, but we can't deviate from that. It's accountability, patience, all of that.
Right.
Integrity. You got to have a lot of integrity as a firefighter. So I think the most rewarding thing out of all of that is just gaining some more personal integrity, patience, and all that.
Yeah, awesome, brother. So your first fire as an engine boss happened during COVID.
Yeah.
And how did the pandemic impact the way you and your team fought fires?
As far as fighting fires go, it wasn't any different out there than it was in the real world. You know, maintain your distances, maintain your spacing. One thing they started doing was morning briefings over the radio. So we would sit in our truck at 6:30 in the morning and listening to the morning briefing instead of going to like a little hut or some building that they have set aside or a place in the field. Chow lines were different. You had to go through, maintain your 6-foot spacing, and you had to grab just this little styrofoam container, and then you go back to your truck and eat. You know, you didn't really mingle, which I think kind of put up a barrier between different groups of firefighters. Yeah. Like you have your state and your federal, you know, your hot shot crews and your DNRC crews and your whatever, you know, all the different crews that have to fight fire and cohese together. If you don't have a chance to get together and actually communicate, talk, and build a camaraderie, well, then it made it more difficult, I think. Right. Just there's not that bond there that there was before COVID. It also made it to where if one of your people on your truck got sick, the whole truck was put down. The whole truck got put down. It didn't matter if it was just one person. They quarantined the whole truck. That happened to me in Dillon one year. I got really sick. It wasn't COVID, but they weren't taking the chances, and they put us down for 3 days. They put us in a hotel, kept us all separated, made us drive. I don't even remember. I think we had to drive all the way to Missoula to get a COVID test. And yeah, that really hurts too. Because if you get 4, 5, 6 trucks that, you know, somebody gets sick on, that's 6 times 3, 18 people out fighting fires.
Right.
You know, take out a whole section. So
it's a lot of guys. And how did you guys overcome that challenge?
We just maintained our distances, kept our washing hands. You had to wear masks in camp. I mean, the same precautions that we had to take when we were going to the grocery store, we'd have to take while we were in camp. And then when we're out on the fire line, the masks come off and we just go to work, just go to work. And it didn't matter. It didn't matter if we had to maintain our distancing or anything out there, really. I mean, we're elbow to elbow sometimes.
Building fire line and all that.
Building fire line, putting out hot spots, patrolling, keeping watch, out on the fire line. It was way different than in camp.
All right. So how did you overcome the challenges with the cohesion with the other departments that you had to work with? We just every once in a while we'd kind of stand at a distance and just talk, if there was nothing going on, we'd kind of talk a little bit, but it just wasn't like it was before. It was, I don't know. It was just different. I remember one time we were on a fire and my engine crew and I got a bunch of watermelon and cantaloupe and a bunch of fresh, fruits from the grocery store. We bought a whole bunch of ice and packed coolers full of cold Gatorades and waters. And while we were doing patrol, there's a hot shot crew standing watch every, it was like 100 feet or so. And we'd roll up to them and we'd hand them some watermelon and a cold drink because it's 100 degrees outside and it's dusty. We couldn't do that anymore after COVID. Yeah.
I really encouraged my crew to do that kind of stuff, help those guys out. They're out there all day long. They don't have access to cold water. We sit in an air conditioned truck until they need us, right. Let's do something for those guys. And after COVID, we just couldn't.
That's unfortunate.
It's
pretty sad.
Yeah. I mean, it got better. They started doing the chow lines again. I think it was in 2022 or 23. They started doing the chow lines again. And, as you know, they started getting more lax on the masking and all that stuff. So they, I think it went back to normal after a while.
So now, what lessons did you learn during the challenging times that stuck with you throughout your entire career?
Patience, man. I'm telling you, it all boils down to patience. 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 The sitting in a truck for hours and hours on end with recruits, not recruits, but just people who are new, green guys that have never seen a fire before in their life as big as the ones that we're on, and they're getting antsy. Or you're on day 15, or 15. Well, I'm gonna take that back. You might want to edit that part out of there. when you're on day like 12, and you're tired, you're sore, you're hungry, you're dirty, you're in a spike camp and you haven't had a shower, that whole time. Morale seems to go out the window, and that's challenging, trying to keep your crew's morale together while still doing a very difficult job, and there's sometimes where, you get off your 14-day roll and you go home, or you extend for another 7 days. And if your crew's morale isn't all that great, there's no way you're going to extend for another 7 days. And the longer you're out there, the more money you make for your company. And if your company's happy, you're happy, So as an engine boss, I not only have to answer to my crew, and I have to answer to the fire, but I also have to answer to my boss at home.
Right.
So that's another thing too, is just patience and maintaining my cool, especially in stressful situations.
Sounds like it.
Yeah. Yeah. And, yeah, Patience. Just keeping your cool and patience.
All right. Now, reflections on firefighting on your journey. Can you share a moment or story from your firefighting career that left a lasting impression on you?
Yes. This one gets me. I'm standing in line at a Walmart in California. It was the Caldor fire. So we were in some small little town, Lancaster, California, or something like that. I can't remember the name of the town, but I needed a lot of stuff for the fire truck. We had just gotten off a roll in Colorado, went home, barely had enough time to get the truck refurbed, and then we were sent back out again. I needed some stuff for it, just some basic supplies that I could get at Walmart. And I went in there and I got it all. And the total came out to like $160. And I'm pulling out my company credit card to pay for it. And this lady and her husband behind us say, "We got that." And I was like, "No, don't worry about it. I got this. My company's going to pay for it." And they're like, "No, that's the least we can do. You guys are doing so much for us. We got that." And they straight up paid for $160 worth of stuff for our fire truck just right there.
Wow.
Yeah. And that will always stick with me. Other little things that stick with me are little kids standing on the side of the road, waving their signs. "Thank you, firefighters. We love you," and all that. And I don't have a picture of it. I could probably send it to you. But the side of our truck, I worked for Peanut Pie Enterprises out of Basin, Montana. And on the side of our truck, our emblem was a long-haired Chihuahua named Peanut Pie. And that was our company emblem. Our company logo was just this long-haired Chihuahua. And like, I'd pull up and these little kids would be like, "Oh my gosh, do you have the doggy with you? Is the doggy there?" It's like, no, Peanut's no longer with us. But I would give them a sticker that had Peanut on it, and I would sign their little thank you things, Peanut Pie. And they were always just so happy and thankful. That's.
That's amazing. It's the gratitude that people have had and the acts of kindness that,
Oh, great acts of kindness. I mean, we had, when they moved us out of that small town, they moved us up by the Sierra Tahoe ski resort. And while we were stationed there was a volunteer group that would come in with dogs. And all these dogs had like a name on their harness, and they were just happiness ambassadors is what they were called. So you're out in there in the middle of fighting a fire somewhere, and here's this dog just tongue all out, wagging, panting, happy to see you. And it's the best release of serotonin you could ever get while you're out there.
Right.
I love dogs. Yeah. Happiness ambassadors.
Yeah. Happiness ambassadors. That's good. That's awesome. And how did firefighting change your personality and your professionally?
Professionally, it's helped me slow down and take my time. It's taught me how to be able to manage other people. The job that I have now, I'm a shop manager in a closet shop here in town. And I started out at the bottom and worked my way up in the last 5 years doing that. And I think it has a lot to do with just the patience and the slowing down, accepting feedback and instruction, like knowing how to accept feedback, even if it's not feedback that you want to hear, it's still feedback that's going to help you in your personal growth. And fighting fire definitely taught me that. We have what we call AARs, after action reviews, and it's what was planned, what was intended, what happened, and what can we do better. And it never assigns blame, but it definitely lets you know, well, this is what happened, this is what went wrong, and this is how we fix it. So learning that has helped me a lot.
Right. And looking back, what do you think firefighting gave you in return for service?
In return?
Yeah.
It gave me an appreciation for hard work. It gave me an hard work and my return on my hard work. It also gave me an understanding that no matter how much you plan for something, no matter how many contingencies you have in place, something can go wrong, and you need to know how to handle that when it goes wrong. And it's taught me how to multitask. Believe it or not, I used to be a really horrible multitasker, and now I can do a couple things at once and get it all done.
Right.
And again, patience. Patience. I'm in the middle of something important, and you come and interrupt me, and I have to divide my attention to something else. It happens, but right. Patience, not losing your cool, and being able to come back
to the task at hand.
Yep.
Sweet. So now your transition and legacy, you had ended your firefighting career in 2024 to focus on your self-care. Can you share what led to that decision and how you have adjusted to that life?
The adjustment was hard. I'm still not fully adjusted. I mean, this year I quit. Well, not quit. I walked away from it after 8 years, knowing that I have stuff to do at home, that I can't constantly put it off because I'm out fighting fires during the summer. I have responsibilities at home that I have to take care of. I'm also not young anymore. I'll be 45 this next year. And I mean, there's guys in their 60s and 70s still doing it, but I don't want to put my body through that. I don't want to be 60 years old and, broken down. And I want to be able to enjoy my life. I also enjoy spending time at home with my girlfriend, and I can't do that in the summer. We can't go do things, The sacrifice that other people make, I commend them. And I made that sacrifice for a lot of years, but it also at a great loss to me personally too, and I just didn't want to do that anymore. The aspect of go, was another thing too. And it just, I needed to step back from it and recollect myself and figure out what I really wanted out of life. And now I've got it. I'm moving on. I'm getting ready to work for the state of Montana. I got a job there. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. And I think a lot of,
awesome.
What's that?
Yeah, we heard about that. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I know, man. From a ward of the state to working for the state.
Right. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. And I want to thank my firefighting career for that. Right. I don't think I would have gotten where I'm at today if it wasn't for my firefighting career. I guess I don't know if you could really say it was a career if I only made it 8 years, but it was still enough for me to feel an impact from it.
Right. Well, 8 years is long enough to risk your life for something.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's some people that do it longer.
Yeah.
Like your cousin.
Yeah. 20 years armed services and then sheriff's department.
Yeah. Yep. Much respect to him, man.
Yeah. That's what started this whole podcasting. We want to be able to give, our first responders a voice because we don't feel like we're that you guys were appreciated enough? Your families and
Me personally, I feel like I've been appreciated enough. I actually get embarrassed when people tell me thank you. I get embarrassed when people offer to do things for me when I'm really doing this for them, and it's because it's my job.
Right.
That's my job, and I don't know. It just embarrasses me. Not to the point, not like a bad embarrassment, but it's like it kind of hits my humility button a little bit.
Right.
So, man.
Now, what advice would you give to others in the firefighting community about balancing duty and your personal well-being?
I would just say stay true to yourself in that. When you're out on the fire line, that should be your focus. You can't have outside factors. You can't have home life affecting you out on the fire line. Where your personal well-being is at stake. And if you have something distracting you, you will make a mistake if you're not 100% focused and committed. Trying to find that balance is hard because you don't want some of those distractions to feel, the outside forces to feel neglected, but you also don't want to focus on them. You don't want to dwell on it. Right. I told a lot of my guys, when we're out on the line, from the moment we wake up in the morning and do briefing until we get back, put that phone away.
Right.
You're not here to be on your phone. You're here to do a job. And even when we're sitting and staging, not doing anything, 90% of the time, you don't have cell service out there. So you don't need your phone anyways, unless you got games or a book to read on there. But that phone's a distraction. Anything outside of fighting fire is a distraction.
Right. You got to be on your game, on point. That could be somebody's life. Head
up, eyes up, looking around. Don't be looking down at the ground. You gotta take care of yourself out there. Right. And that even goes so far as to, even if you're feeling sick, don't be afraid to go to the med tent and say, hey, I don't feel well, or if you got something going on, blisters or whatever, personal well-being, taking care of yourself is number one out there.
Exactly. Amen to that, brother. Now, in the 8 years that you were firefighting, do you feel like you have accomplished your goal in giving back to the community?
Yes, to an extent. I have that niggling thing in the back of my head that says I can still do this and that you still have more to do. But at the same time, I know that I've done my duty. I've done my bit. I've got stories, that I could tell that have just, I've done my bit. I've given back.
You put your time in.
Yep.
It's long enough.
Yeah.
You felt for yourself it was long enough.
Yeah. I feel like I did. I feel like it was just time to get out of it. Yeah.
Now, how do you stay in connection to the firefighting world or the community now?
I keep an eye on like the Fire Watch apps, and I have quite a few friends that I've met over the years that I keep in contact with, and they're telling me stories that, I got dispatched to here, I've been here. So, I still keep up with it a little bit, not as much as I used to, just because it really gets to me. Like this last summer, I was fighting that itch all summer, and this had been one of the worst fire seasons there were for a while. And here I am not doing it, so I just kept in contact. I also kept in contact with my engine boss trainees, the ones that I have actually trained from FF2 all the way up to engine boss. And I kept in contact with them, and they call me when they had questions or problems or needed help with paperwork or how to do something or a procedure. My phone's always there, and they have the open permission to call me anytime.
Right.
You know, same with a couple of the FF1s that from last year. You know, they still have my phone number, and they can call me and talk to me and ask me for advice.
Right.
So
Now, did you in your career ever have anybody personally get injured or hurt
yes,
from firefighting?
yes.
That active?
One of my firefighters it was in California. We had been there for about 10 or 11 days. It had been really hot. We've been doing a lot of really hard work, and I wasn't making sure that I was keeping tabs on him and how much water he drank, and you know, if he was staying hydrated or not. One of the last days we were on that fire, we were doing cleanup. We were actually pulling everything off the lines, pulling all the hoses, all the fittings, everything was coming off the line because the fire had been put to bed, and we were turning it back over to local resources. And Robert went down. He was coming up the hill. Everything was good. He was kind of confused. He did get kind of like angry, but for no reason. Like, it was a very strange thing to see somebody go through a dehydration and heat exhaustion. And he was coming to the top of the hill, and he went down, and he wasn't responsive. His skin was cold, clammy. He was turning gray. I mean, he was breathing, but he wasn't responding. So at that point, we had to call communications and clear the channel and get emergency medical assistance up there. And it took a little while to get a medic up there just because of where they were staged versus where we were at. We had to trying to keep him cool, had him in the shade, and I rode all the way with him in the ambulance to the hospital with him. I left my truck on the line that day. That was the scariest thing I've ever seen, in being somebody that I'm responsible for. I've seen injuries from other crews, you know, happen, but somebody in my crew going down that was scary.
Right. He turned out okay, or did he?
Yeah, he turned out okay. He got out of the hospital quite a few hours later. They had to give him quite a bit of fluids. I kind of chewed his ass a little bit for not staying hydrated. You know, I didn't want to be over the top because I know he wasn't feeling good, but I also needed him to know that was a dumb move. You know, he needed to stay hydrated.
Yeah.
So,
what would you say to other engine bosses about that experience?
Keep an eye on your crew. Just always keep an eye on your crew. I mean, don't micromanage, don't babysit, you know, but definitely keep an eye on your crew. And if they're doing something that they shouldn't be doing, or if they're not doing something that they should be doing, give them that reminder. And sometimes you have to be I'm dad, and you got to listen to daddy, you know. Mm-hmm. You got to give them that voice. It's just the way it is. And tempers are going to flare. You're going to clash. But how you handle it, and if you stay patient, you're not gonna lose control of the situation.
Right.
You know,
Definitely.
I've come patient, man. Patience is a good one. I've come close to fist fights with numerous crew members before. And it's not because of anything personally that I've done. It's because I'm asking them to do something that needs to be done, and they're tired and they're frustrated. They're hungry. They're hot. You know, we've been out for 98 days in a summer, and just getting towards the end of your time on the line, and you're just sick of it. The tempers will start flaring.
Right.
You know, patience.
That P word, patience.
Man, I'm telling you. I had a firefighter when I was in California. He that man was probably the biggest test I've ever faced as far as patience. And you and I know some things about being tested by somebody and
Absolutely.
just trying to hold back and not lose your cool and, get kicked off of a fire line because you're fighting, get blacklisted for that kind of stuff. And I don't want that. So
Right.
swallow your pride a little bit, have some patience, and just let it ride out until you can get that person fired and on a bus back home.
Right.
That guy was trouble. Brought drugs onto my truck. Yeah.
Didn't belong there.
No, he didn't belong there. No. And this was in California. So, it was a long haul back to home, and the whole time was just hostile. So that's the same fire. I had a skunk lick my toe. Straight up. We're in Lake Hughes, California. And I just got done taking a shower. I got my towel over my shoulder. I'm in my shorts and my flip flops, and I'm walking back to my tent. And we're talking, it's 98 degrees at night out there. Right. So it's hot. Yeah. So I'm walking and I'm on my phone, just doing the Facebook thing after a shift, and out of the corner of my eye, I see a little movement, and I'm like, what the heck was that? And I'm looking, and I can't really see anything. I'm looking some more, and all of a sudden this little skunk comes skittering across the parking lot, comes right up to my foot. And I shit you not, if I'm lying, I'm dying. It comes right up to my foot, licks my pinky toe, and then scampers off like, see, I did it, boys, I did it. Yeah. That was, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know, do I kick him? Do I run away? I didn't want to get sprayed. Yeah, so I just let him do what he was going to do. And he licked my toe.
Pepe Le Pew was in love with you.
Yes, he was.
That's funny.
Oh, man. First time I ever caught a catfish was down there, too.
Yeah.
My firefighting career was a really rewarding one. I've seen some things that many people don't get to see. The most beautiful places ever, the top of a mountain in the middle of the wilderness, and there's not a road around. There's not a person for miles. It's quiet and peaceful. I've mined garnets along the side of the road, just, I don't know, it was really rewarding in that aspect too. Just some of the places that I've been.
Or like you're on the top of the world at that point.
Well, yeah, and then going from where I started out in my life to being in charge of $1 million worth of equipment and 2 other lives, like being responsible to bring all of that home was huge. I'd never been responsible for anything like that in my entire life until I started fighting fire.
Right.
So I'll never forget that. It'll always be with me.
That's good. Now, from a broader perspective, for someone considering a career in firefighting, especially those with a difficult past, what would you say to inspire them? How would you drive them to do?
I would say don't let your past stop you. Don't let your past control what you can be in your future. One of my most favorite quotes, and I've been saying this since you and I have started being friends, Brian, was, the past is a point of reference, not a place of residence.
Right.
You can dredge up some stuff from your past and learn from it and move forward, and you never have to worry about it again.
Right.
I try not to let my past dictate who I am anymore. It used to be a big part of my life, like everything from my past experiences, where I've been, what I've done, everything used to drive who I was as a person. And I've realized that it doesn't matter. It's who I am now and who I'm going to be in the future. Obviously, there's some people, if they have a criminal past, they can't do certain things. They can't be a structure fire or a police officer or a sheriff's officer. But, wildland firefighting community, a lot of companies don't really care about that. As long as you're not a violent person, you can do the job.
Right.
Just don't let your past dictate it.
Right.
Got to move forward.
I myself had to come to realize that I am no longer my past. I am my future. Because
Yeah,
I am
exactly.
my future, not reliving my past.
Exactly. Because what does that do for you?
Nothing.
No. I mean, you
Nothing.
can think about it. You can remember some of the times that you were in the most difficult, challenging mental aspects of your life. You can remember that. You can remember some of the happiness that you had while you were in those challenging times, but pushing forward and learning from them and becoming a different person is paramount, and you can do it. It doesn't matter who you are. You can do it.
Right. Yeah, it definitely puts us on a different playing field. Sometimes I feel like it kind of pushed us to be better than most people that haven't experienced that.
Or even
not like better than them, but it made us to be better people in a way because we had to push harder.
And we had to sacrifice and deal with a lot more than most normal people do.
Right.
But there's also, on the flip side of that, there's also a lot of guys that have been in similar situations as you and me who don't learn from that and just continue to do the recidivism, or maybe they are out and they're not doing that stuff anymore, but they're still not a good human being.
Right.
It's a personal choice. It's a personal challenge.
It's sad.
It's life.
Well, not everybody can be us.
No, not everybody can be us. I mean, I don't know if I'm all that great either. I still got my challenges and my little idiosyncrasies that are still working out. And I probably won't get it right even when I'm 70, but someday at least I wish to get just a little closer.
Well, it is life and we're still learning.
Yeah.
Never done learning life.
No.
Still, growing. Getting better one day at a time.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Trying to remember another time. I don't know. I was trying to remember another example of growth and what I had to endure, but there's just too many of them for my brain to make sense of them right now.
That's all right. They're all in there. So.
Mm-hmm.
So, I wanted to ask you, what does the word sacrifice mean to you after everything that you've experienced? I mean, you have experienced a lot of sacrifice, obviously.
Yeah. The only thing that I really had to sacrifice was time with my family when I was married. That was something I sacrificed, time with them. And with that, everything else that goes along with that, I sacrificed my summers. I sacrificed my time in the spring and in the fall, to take care of things on the fire truck and out on the line. So that's really what I sacrificed. Everything else, I don't know. Comparatively speaking, I don't feel like I sacrificed as much as the men and women who've died on the fire line. Those are the ones who have sacrificed everything.
Right.
And they're the hero. They're the heroes. Whenever somebody would tell me you're a hero, and no, I'm not. My heroes are dead. That's why they're heroes. The ultimate sacrifice, like just putting your life in front of something that is so scary and terrifying and not winning, that's a sacrifice. And that's one that, I mean, I'm glad I didn't have to pay that, but I'm not the one that, I don't know. It's hard because I didn't sacrifice a whole bunch. Just my time.
Sacrifice your family.
Just my time. And I mean, my firefighting career didn't have anything to do with my my divorce or my split from my wife. It was just the time spent. My divorce there was different circumstances there, but I'm sure it led to it. There was a lot of animosity, I feel like, and it sucks. You know, there's some people that can do this kind of work and still maintain a good family life, and then there's other people that do this line of work and they can't, and they end up, you know, so that's a sacrifice too, I suppose, you know, but I don't know. Am I better off where I'm at? Yes. Do I wish things were different? Also, yes.
Like I said, you and I, you know, we both have that same feeling. You know, I mean, things could have been different. Things could have been better. I had my own things going on. My life could be different, but I chose a different path.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Same here. But our paths are definitely not as forked as they used to be.
Right.
And we don't have somebody holding basically our life in their hand.
Right.
We're free to make those decisions. We're free to do what we can do and better ourselves. And the true test is whether you actually better yourself or you just stay the same. And if you just stay the same, you're never going to go anywhere in life.
Right. What are you going to do with that opportunity?
Yeah. If your opportunity knocks, you better answer the damn door.
Yeah. And if life gets tough, you better fight back.
Damn right.
It's hard. Because, I mean, it wasn't easy.
Bite 'em.
It was not easy. It was not easy the first few years.
Mm-mm. I got a picture of you and I standing in the yard. Came across my my phone the other day in my Google Memories.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Remember that P90X workwout you made me do, and I couldn't walk for like a week.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
My legs were my legs were jello. I couldn't. Oh man.
Yeah.
That was fun. That was
Zero weights is no joke.
No, you just got to go hard.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember trying to get that one tough guy to do the Tabata training, and he thought it was a joke until he started doing it. And then he could barely do, after he got done with his push-ups, he could barely push the bar. He was like a bodybuilder.
So much fun remembering those things.
After he wasn't laughing anymore after that.
No. I think I remember that one. Yeah. No, I don't know, Brian. I think fighting fire for me was the best decision I could have ever made in my life. It really was. Just stories from other people and you know, my fire boss doesn't like to talk about near misses, you know, where you almost die or whatever. But like knowing those near miss stories and then kind of picking them apart because you've got the experience and kind of like, okay, well, this is where you messed up. You shouldn't have been doing this. A near miss is a series of bad decisions that lead up to that near miss. And I liked hearing those stories because it helped me teach my guys what not to do. It also taught me how to do research and find the answers to the questions that I couldn't answer because they needed to know the answer. And if I don't know the answer and they need that answer, well, then I need to figure it out too, so I know it. I gained a lot of knowledge while fighting fire. And I never look at clouds the same. I don't look at terrain the same anymore. I don't look at features like topographical features the same anymore. I look at them as a go, no go spot. Clouds, I look at them as oh shit, we're going to get some winds this afternoon, or we're going to have some kind of unstable atmosphere. You become almost a mini expert on multiple different aspects of your little part of the world, meteorologist, geologist, arborist, knowing the different types of trees and how they burn and which ones, are
others, yeah.
What's that again?
Which ones burn hotter than others? Density.
Oh yeah. Or which ones won't burn.
Right.
Like you get a grove of aspen trees in a slightly, wet area because that's where aspen trees grow. There's water somewhere around. If there's a grove of aspen trees, there's water somewhere around, and they generally won't burn. I mean, they'll blacken, but they won't burn up.
Right.
They're also really dangerous trees too because they fall. They rot out on the inside and fall. So knowing that kind of stuff. Yeah. You always keep your head up, and you're always learning, and you're always assessing and reassessing everything.
Exactly. Well, before we get off here, I was going to ask if you could possibly give me 3 referrals. If you can, just give them our emails. I mean, it could be any referrals. We like to try to get separate types of referrals from different departments, whether it's fire, EMS, police, sheriffs, all such types. If you know of any, you can.
I do. I got a couple people that I can ask. I have a field or a wilderness medic friend. And the wilderness medics, I mean, those guys, they go out and they live with us on the line, and they're when you see those old World War II movies and they're yelling, Corpsman, that's who that's them. That's their job. And if you do your job right, they're going to be bored out of their mind and they're not going to have anything to do.
Right.
If you do your job right. And that's what they say. Don't make me do my job today.
Right. Yeah, you're messing with you.
Yeah. So I got a couple wilderness medic friends. I have an ambulance driver friend here in town. So I'll send them your email.
Yeah, just send them the email, tell them what it's about, and that whole spiel.
Yeah, this is my first time ever doing an interview like this, so I don't know. I hope I did it good.
Yeah, I think you did pretty good because this is my first time doing a podcast. So,
hey, I'm glad to help you work the kinks out, bud.
We're working through it, and it's a learning experience in itself as well.
Yeah, it is. It is definitely a learning experience. I don't know if I could keep it all straight. Shout out to your lady for, being as tech savvy as she is.
Yeah, she's been pretty awesome. I guess, we don't have as dire service as you guys have, but my hat's off to you. We're just trying to give back.
Yeah,
There's other ways that we're going to try to do that, and hopefully hopefully, if this thing grows, we're gonna.
Well, I mean, if you need my help with any of that too, you just let me know. I don't want anything from you. Just want to help out.
Yeah. We're trying to do our best to help the first responders community, because we want people to know that you guys have a voice, you have a family, you have lives, you're people too.
Yeah. Well, if you ever want me back on as a guest again, I'll do it. I'm more than happy to.
Well, we're definitely doing follow-up interviews, so
Okay.
in the future.
Hell yeah, man. Well, like I said, I can't wait to come over there and see you guys in June. I'm excited. All right, man.
All right, brother. That's be fantastic. I appreciate you being on here, helping me out with this, and I'm sure my cousin appreciates it.
Hey, man, much love to your cousin, man. I was really sad when I heard about that. Yeah.
Yeah, right there. He was a good man.
Hell yeah. All right, Brian.
Take care, brother.
I love you, man. Take it easy.
All right. Peace out, bro.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you for joining us on 8158 Stories of Sacrifice. Every story we share is a tribute to the courage and resilience of first responders and their families. If this episode has impacted, encouraged, or inspired you, please subscribe, leave a review, and share with someone who supports first responders. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Rumble, and Truth Social at 8158 Podcast for updates. Remember to visit our website, www.8158podcast.com. For questions, collaborations, or to share your story, our email address is contactus@8158podcast.com. Until next time, let's continue to honor their legacies and remember their sacrifices that protect us all. This is Rico signing on and honoring 8158.